3 weeks ago, we had on Vem Miller. Little did we know that he would be accused of being Trump's third would-be assassin. Vem, welcome back to The Truth.
How you doing, John?
I'm good, and I just want you to know that I have gone on the record. I went on the record the day after your false accusations were made against you and said that they were total BS, that I didn't know you well, but I'd spent an hour with you through Zoom, and that I feel like I'm pretty good at reading people, not perfect, but I knew that was baloney. Tell us what you've been through since October the 7th when you attended the Trump rally as a supporter, as a patriot, and what the ordeal that you went through.
I took the part about, the fraud, the lies, the sheriff's corruption, the blatant lies actually pretty well because frankly, I'm used to dealing with scumbags and criminals like the sheriff. I know that kind of personality. I know those kind of opportunistic, pretty like just evil individuals. He tried to use my good name to build a political career for himself, which is now cratered. It's not enough. He needs to be put in jail because this man is an absolute criminal. And so are elements around him, like his deputy. The good news is that, a lot of the time these people don't get held accountable for their crimes because lawsuits cost money and, FBI is too busy chasing grannies that go into the Capitol. So there's no watchman. We're in a heavily corrupt country. There is no constitutional rights when you're dealing with millions of dollars to even hold these people accountable. But the crimes have been so egregious that fortunately that is not an issue for me right now in terms of support. Everybody that knows me, definitely the core grassroots of the Republican movement, the freedom folks, and there's probably 100 people I could name, starting from Roger Stone, who really broke the truth of the story and knew 100% that I wasn't that guy. Alex Jones. I mean, a lot of these people came forward that I wasn't expecting to come forward the way they did. How life's been is that I handled everything pretty well and chill. People are surprised. I had female friends of mine calling me concerned, literally on 2 occasions, crying and throwing up, crying and throwing up. And I was the one consoling them. The part where this became, I guess, made me very angry is when they started attacking my parents. My parents, they're home. They put a 5-day eviction notice because I'm also a caretaker of my elderly parents. I go there on a part-time basis to help them. My dad's in bad health. And knowing that I spent time in that house, they're accusing me of living in that house, which is also untrue and provably so because I actually have a residence that's been on the record for a real long time. I won't say that is for what that is for the obvious reasons. But yeah, so now my elderly parents have been served a 5-day notice, which is unlawful because since they're elderly, they're supposed to be given at least 30 days. It's all a result of Sheriff Bianco's lies. And, if there's any silver lining to all of this, is that Sheriff Bianco's career is done.
Do you think the people in California see it for what it is? Is he getting a lot of pushback based on what you're saying?
There's no escape for Sheriff Bianco because here's the deal. Because I'm used to dealing with this kind of criminal element, I'm very cautious. So actually, they haven't released the body cam footage. There's a reason why they haven't released the body cam footage is because here's the big scoop. I had a recorder recording the entire thing, so we don't even need that body cam footage.
Can you share it with us today?
That's actually been shared with my attorneys and also multiple individuals because I've also been threatened with things like porn being put on my computer, like child porn. I've been had death threats. I've been told that they're going to crush me, kill me, suicide me, and so I'm in a lot of danger. That's why when we first started this, I just wanted to do it audio. But since you have this, white wall behind you, I figure people won't be able to tell which location I'm in. We are keeping that for a big exclusive because the damage was tremendous to my life, my family's life, my extended family's reputation, because now forever, regardless of what they do, those initial reports were so massive that as a result, we are, facing a lot of challenges, hardships and stuff. So yeah, it's an unfortunate event, but I think It shows where this country is. You know, this country is a corrupt shithole now, ruled by tyrants like Chad Bianco. We have a lot of examples. We've seen the tyranny of Washington, D.C., a tyranny over the states. If you look at my Bundy versus Deep State documentary, it dives into the tyranny of the federal government. That is basically a commie operation, foreign territory, dictating what we do within our states. And that's going to be questioned, even if they, try to frame me, with lies and say, stick something on my computer like child porn and try to throw me in jail. If they try to suicide me or whatever, then the good news is that's out. The audio that I've recorded is out. It shows unequivocally that Sheriff Bianco, his department, and other elements that were involved in this are nothing but criminals. How you doing, sir? Hi.
Hi, how are you?
So I have a question. So I'm a Trump caucus captain, but I want to be totally transparent. I'm from Nevada, and I do have my firearms in the back.
You have firearms with you?
Yeah, in the back in the trunk. But obviously, I want to be totally transparent. But yeah,
Okay. How many firearms do you have?
I have a shotgun, and I have a handgun, and it's all in the back right there. Obviously, I'm not taking this down with me, just in my car, and I want to let you guys know.
Okay. You have your ID, VIP pass, and all
Yeah, totally. And you could actually Google me. I ran for office as a Republican and all that, but probably why I have a gun. So that's my ID right there. And then
Okay.
right here is my and
You're going to pull up
sure.
into that little alcove right there.
Okay. And that's my pass right there.
Okay. So you're going to pull up right in that little alcove right there.
Right there. Okay, cool. Thank you. Do you guys want to hang on to it? I mean, I don't mind you guys holding on to it
They'll
either.
decide what they're going to do.
Okay.
Just pull up in the alcove.
All right, thank you. So regardless of what happens to me, their career's done, and there's gonna have to be investigations if there is any form of justice left in this country, which I don't know if there is anymore. But this is why I've been such a supporter of Donald Trump, because in Donald Trump, I see a fighter, and what we have in this country is a bunch of cowards. And I will tell you straight up, a lot of the mainstream media companies were very willing, able to slander, defame me based upon Sheriff Bianco's lies. But when it comes to correcting the story, they've been a bunch of cowards. And I will say that to them, like Newsmax, Fox, all these mainstream media outlets are giving hard nose to saying the real story despite the evidence, but they're very okay about saying the fake story despite there being no evidence. And I say that very confidently. We already have checkmate in terms of my version of the story being true and theirs being false.
I'm so sorry that you've had to experience this, and I'm glad that you're standing up and defending yourself. So let's break it down a little bit. Chad Bianco, the sheriff of Riverside County, California, alleged that you had a fake homemade license plate on your car, which they felt like was suspicious, that justified them going further in the search. Do you have an explanation for what what they were accusing you of?
I mean, they're just so full of shit. Like, here's the ticket. The only thing I got cited for, ticket, by the way, the only thing I got cited for was having my mag in the Glock as opposed to the mag separated from the Glock, which, by the way, is an idiotic commie foreign law that puts lawful gun owners' lives at risk because the criminals don't have that discretion. They're not following the law. They have their gun loaded, bullet in the chamber. The second thing I was cited for is because my hand, and by the way, these are all lawful things in Nevada. My magazine was loaded in the Glock, and the 14 bullets in the magazine as opposed to 10. They call this high capacity to make it sound like it's an AR, but anybody that knows about guns knows that a Glock, and I don't know that much about guns. I only bought guns in 2022 when death threats started being sent to my home because of the kind of media and content we do in exposing these kind of scumbags. And so, it's 14 bullets instead of 10. They call it a high capacity gun, which Glock is basically, you have to be, I believe I've heard, within 10 yards of the victim in order to fire off a shot. And I don't know in what scenario it's possible to get within 10 yards. The other gun.
Well, I want to get to that, but I just want to focus, if you would, for a moment on the things that Sheriff Bianco stated that raised their suspicion. So you didn't really address the homemade license plate. Can you enlighten us on Was that true or false, or is there an explanation?
The point I'm trying to make, the only thing we should be concerned about is laws. It's either lawful or unlawful. Clearly, it wasn't unlawful because it's not on this ticket. And that would open up a can of worms for Sheriff Bianco, because I don't think he understands constitutional laws. I don't think he understands the laws whatsoever. Certainly, somebody did, because they didn't cite me for it. What I had done was clearly lawful. And that's one of the things they don't want you to find out about, that, hey, you know what? Having a private plate is actually lawful. Otherwise, they would have cited you. And now it's out. They say it's sovereign citizen, all that stuff. Sovereign citizen is like a nonsensical term. I reject anything sovereign citizen. And by the way, the core of sovereign citizen is that you are anti-government. And to ask me, like, how does that make sense when for the last 6 years I've been focusing on getting the Donald Trump word out? I ran for office in 22 as a Republican. I am pushing somebody for government office for 24 by making 800 pieces of content that support his message. So the fact that they're calling me sovereign citizen, that's a new scare word. That's a new conspiracy theorist, because what happens with sovereign citizen is, if even though that theory is illogical and doesn't make sense, once you go down that rabbit hole, you might discover certain things that are a deprivation of your rights. So these little tyrants like Sheriff Bianco could then abuse your rights and operate under the color of law. So it's clear that what I did was lawful, and that's only two topics that are of relevance here. Either it's lawful or unlawful. If it was unlawful, I would have been cited.
Gotcha. All right. So also, he stated that you had multiple driver's licenses with different names on them. True or false?
That's untrue. It's false. It's a felony to have a fake passport, punishable by immediate jail time. If I actually had fake passports, and by the way, my two passports, here, I'll show you. I have a United States passport, lawful. Obviously, they had this in their position. They didn't do anything. They didn't throw me in jail for it. Even the feds didn't even interview, even though a fake passport would be a federal crime. And my second passport is Canadian. Why do I have a Canadian passport? Because I was born in Toronto but grew up in Los Angeles.
Fair enough. So he really just was not truthful with the American people when he went to the press conference and left out the multiple passports. Okay, you had two. One for US and one for Canada, where you were born, and you were entitled to have that. Well, I thought the two most telling things to me were that the FBI stated that you were not a suspect as a would-be assassin, and secondly, you were not detained. Now, I'm thinking that guy that did not even he didn't pull a trigger. He did not get close enough to Trump to assassinate him, but he was certainly laying in wait. He's still in jail. I don't think he'll ever see the light of day. They let you out the same day, right?
Yeah, and this is the sad part. This is the really sad part, that podcasters, okay, sitting in their boxer shorts in their bedrooms, it took them about 2 minutes to decipher that there's no way I could have been an assassin against Trump, right? And yet the entire sheriff's department, Keystone Cops, Roscoe P. Coltrane over there, screwed up pretty badly, didn't they? They screwed up pretty badly because they didn't even do that cursory glance, which I'm sure the feds did. I'm sure the feds quickly researched me, learned that I've been in close proximity, like this far away from Donald Trump and I. And if I was an assassin, boy, I had so many opportunities to be an assassin prior to this event. So, obviously they have higher IQs over there. You can't have feds running around starting, $200 million, $500 million lawsuits, which is basically what, this Keystone cop named Bianco has done.
Well, the other thing, I've done a lot of bird hunting, and so they said that you had a shotgun in your car, and I came on the truth, and the question that I asked was, how did they think you were going to get the shotgun through the magnetometer and into the venue? And I have had people shoot a shotgun pretty much straight at me, aiming for a low bird that was coming into the field. And you have to be really close to somebody to do harm with a shotgun. It'll sting a lot, but they're not going to kill you unless you're at pretty much point blank range, I think. I don't know what the yardage is, but you're going to have to get close, real close, to be able to do any harm with a shotgun. So that did not pass the smell test for me either.
No, you know what the problem is? We've become a country of prostitutes that are narcissistic prostitutes that want the attention of the media, want attention of social media. There's not much difference between a woman that exposes herself on social media in lewd ways in order to get attention, in order to get likes, and a Sheriff Bianco that is basically looking for the same kind of attention. And that's exactly what happened here. And he did that at the price of my reputation. He walked over the course of my reputation in order to basically for fame and fortune. So you know what?
It's inexcusable. It's the Mike Waltz playbook of stolen valor. He is the stolen hero of October the 12th, in my opinion. And I came right here on The Truth and told our listeners and viewers that very thing. So tell me where you are with the.
You're a good man. I just want to give you a compliment because you had courage to stay with the truth. And you are, I look at these kind of mainstream media outlets now, like Newsmax and Fox, that they have the courage to tell you the lie and destroy somebody's life. But when somebody goes with them with verifiable truths, what I'm hearing is that they're too nervous. It's just repugnant.
Well, I share your disdain. I hate injustice. And you are the victim of a corrupt, I get, you say corrupt. I don't have evidence that he's corrupt. He's certainly not truthful, sheriff, and he is supposed to be held to a high standard. And I hope that he does have to face some accountability for what he's done to you. And most distressing of all is what is happening to your poor parents, getting kicked out of their apartment because you were falsely accused of something that you did not do and you had no intention of doing. I mean, I talked to you for an hour, Vem, and a good portion of the time was about your support of Donald J. Trump and a conservative agenda, i.e., how ridiculous is it that we're calling it a conservative agenda when you're speaking in defense of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights? That's not conservative. It's not liberal. It's American. What the hell is wrong with the people in this country today that we cannot stand for red, white, and blue? Where do you stand with your folks in their living quarters?
I'm working on it. I think at this point, you could tell like I'm a bare knuckle brawler when it comes metaphorically speaking. I rather die on my feet than, on my knees. And so I'm fighting it. I think we'll be able to extend it for a reasonable period of time, give him at least a lawful 30 days, because right now this 5-day notice is unlawful. It's elder abuse. Elder abuse actually has severe fines and prison punishment.
Well, I want you to take it to them. I want you to absolutely take it to them. Vem Miller, thank you for coming on The Truth once again. We've enjoyed our time today. I wish it was under more fortunate circumstances, but please keep us posted. Let's keep in touch. You keep fighting. You and I roll the same way. My motto, do no harm, take no shit. This is The Truth. I'm John Gordon.